The United States Postal Service is warning that without major changes, it could face a serious cash crisis in less than a year. And this matters more than most people realize, because this is the system that still delivers your bills, checks, medications, government notices, ballots, and everyday packages right to your door. This isn't just about stamps getting a little more expensive. It's about whether the entire promise of reliable mail service can keep working the way people expect. So stay with me, because understanding what's happening right now could help you prepare before these changes start showing up in your mailbox. Before we dive in, let me ask you something simple. How often do you still check your mailbox expecting something important? Even in a digital world, it still matters more than we think. Let me know in the comments. When people hear that the Postal Service is in trouble, the first reaction is usually, is this actually serious, or just overblown? The answer: it's serious. Postal leadership has warned lawmakers that if things continue on this path, the agency could run out of cash to operate the way it does today. That's a big deal. This isn't some new company struggling to survive. This is one of the oldest institutions in the country, something people have relied on for generations. So what changed? The problem is simple, but powerful. The world changed faster than the Postal Service did. Back in 1970, the post office was turned into a self-financing agency. The idea was that it would support itself mostly through postage and services instead of relying on taxpayer funding. At the time, that worked. People mailed everything: bills, letters, documents. First-class mail was the financial engine that kept the system running. But today? Think about your own life. You pay bills online. You get statements by email. You sign documents digitally. You send texts instead of letters. That shift changed everything. First-class mail volume has dropped from 213 billion pieces in 2006 to about 109 billion today. That's not a small decline. That's a collapse in the Postal Service's most profitable business. And when your strongest revenue source disappears, the entire system starts to shake. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about packages? Everyone orders online now. Fair point. Package delivery has grown a lot. But here's the catch. The Postal Service is competing with major private companies like UPS, FedEx, and Amazon. And unlike those companies, USPS has strict rules, pricing limits, and a universal service obligation. So yes, packages help. But they haven't fully replaced what was lost. Now let's talk about what this means for you. The most immediate impact? Higher prices. There's already a proposal to raise the price of a forever stamp from 78 cents to 82 cents, and possibly higher over time. There are also added surcharges on packages due to fuel and transportation costs. That means sending anything, letters, cards, payments, small packages, gradually becomes more expensive. And sure, 4 cents doesn't sound like much. But over time, it adds up. And more importantly, it changes behavior. Businesses send fewer mailers. Families stop mailing checks. Nonprofits cut back on fundraising letters. And that creates a dangerous cycle. Higher prices, right pointing arrow; fewer users, right pointing arrow; lower volume, right pointing arrow; more pressure to raise prices again. But the bigger issue might not be cost. It might be service. One proposal that keeps coming up is reducing delivery from 6 days a week to 5. That could save up to $3.5 billion a year. From a budget perspective, that makes sense. But in real life? That's a big change. Imagine waiting an extra day for medication, or legal documents, or a replacement bank card, or a tax refund check. This is where it becomes personal. And not everyone would be affected the same way. In cities, you might have alternatives. But in rural areas? The Postal Service isn't just an option, it's the backbone of delivery. Cuts to routes, post offices, or delivery schedules could leave entire communities with limited access. Especially older adults, veterans, and people who rely on mailed prescriptions or government paperwork. Mail feels old-fashioned until the one thing you need doesn't show up. Now, to be fair, the Postal Service hasn't been sitting still. It's been using emergency measures to stay afloat. One example: temporarily suspending certain pension contributions to free up about $2.5 billion this year. In simple terms, they're trying to keep the lights on. But that's not a long-term fix. That's like delaying a bill because you need to cover groceries today. It helps, but it doesn't solve the real problem. And the real problem is deeper. The Postal Service is stuck between two roles. It's expected to act like a business, self-funded, efficient, profitable. But also like a public service, serving everyone, everywhere, no matter the cost. Those two goals don't always work together. And that tension may be at the heart of everything. There's also a human side to this. Some retired postal workers have reported delays in receiving benefits, leaving them struggling to cover basic expenses. One described it as waiting with no information. Another said, "When you owe the system, it moves fast. When it owes you, it moves slow." That says a lot. Because when a large institution struggles, the impact doesn't stay on paper. It shows up in real lives. So what happens next? There are a few possible paths: increasing borrowing limits, raising prices more aggressively, new legislation from Congress, or cutting services. None of these are easy choices. Postal leadership says this isn't about politics, it's about math. If the goal is to maintain universal service, the funding model has to support it. Otherwise, every year becomes a crisis. But critics warn, if prices rise too much and service gets worse, people may simply stop using it. And that could accelerate the decline. So what should you do right now? A few simple things. Expect higher postage costs. Pay closer attention to important mail. Give yourself extra time for anything critical. And most importantly, be proactive. Because this isn't just a policy story. It's a daily life story. If changes happen, higher costs, slower delivery, reduced service, you'll feel it at home first.